Hello, it's Jane Whiting speaking, and welcome to the Have the Love You Deserve 7-Day Challenge. I'm so delighted that you're here. So firstly, to receive the most out of this challenge, it's essential to set aside about 15 minutes a day where you've turned off all distractions and are able to listen intently to what I have to offer. We're so overstimulated in today's world, and it's creating a lot of anxiety and just compounding our problems. And it also affects our ability to be focused. I worked it out. There's 960 minutes in the waking day. That's if you sleep for 8 hours. And all I'm asking is that you set aside about 15 minutes or so for the next 7 days. And I also highly recommend keeping a journal and taking notes, because research shows that we only remember a very small amount of what we hear. And writing it down helps you to integrate the information. Because this is really important information, because the quality of your relationships affects every area of your life. It affects you way more deeply than you realise on every level, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And also think about, what does having the love you deserve mean to you? What is your deepest longing, and what are you hoping to get out of this challenge? And I'd love it if you shared that in the Facebook group. Put very simply, as I see it, it's being in relationships that make you feel good about yourself, but you may have very different ideas about it. But it's certainly worth putting 15 minutes aside for the next 7 days to help you with that. But I also want to say that this challenge, it's only for those who are serious about taking responsibility for their lives and creating happy, loving relationships. Because if you don't take that responsibility, then you're seeing yourself as a victim and you're setting yourself up for failure and a miserable life. End of story. And look, don't wait for the other person to change, because it may never happen. Somebody has to take a leadership role here. And this is not about changing or fixing anyone other than yourself, although often as we change, others change also. And my role is to empower you to learn, grow, and heal so that you experience the love that you deserve. Because if you don't do it, who will? And I want you to know also, I'm with you all the way. I'm freely available in our Facebook group, or you can even private message me or email me if you want to. But I really encourage you to share your experiences and be active in the group as much as possible, because chances are that somebody else is experiencing what you're going through also, and we can grow and support each other and gain a lot from interacting with each other. Because look, we all have our story. We've all been deeply hurt, and let's be honest, it's most likely that we've hurt others deeply also. And I wanted to say that some of the world's greatest people have risen above tremendous adversity and forgiven the unforgivable and reached extraordinary states of peace and love and fulfillment because of these challenges. And I'm only sharing that as an example to inspire you, but let's be real, let's be true here. Let's have realistic expectations and be true to your feelings. So if you're really angry, then don't beat yourself up about that. Just accept that, see that. Maybe ask your inner presence or higher self to help you with it, but don't try and suppress it. Express it in a healthy way by punching pillows or screaming into a pillow, or doing something that gives you a physical release without hurting others in any way or hurting yourself and inflaming the situation. And it's also really important to understand that our relationships are our greatest teachers. They serve our growth. And if you get that, then you're at great advantage to most people. And what I mean by that is that they mirror back to us any unhealed aspects of ourselves. And often this is unconscious. These are unconscious parts of us. And that's when they're really damaging. So, in other words, whatever problems that you're experiencing in your relationships are an opportunity for growth. And if you don't embrace that and learn from them, then the problems keep repeating themselves over and over and over again. So I'll give you an example just to make that clearer. Say if your husband or partner or ex or wife is treating you really badly, then look more closely at your relationship with yourself. How do you treat yourself? What words or messages do you give others, either knowingly or unknowingly, about you? What sort of image are you creating? What language do you use? Is it harsh and critical and angry and defensive? Do you put yourself down in front of others? Now, I can hear some of you thinking, I know all this. But there's a big difference between thinking that we know and really taking it on board as your truth. And we're not saints, and nor should we try to be. This is just about doing your best. But being gentle with yourself is an essential requirement for this challenge, because we're so hard on ourselves and it's so damaging. There's no room for putting yourself down, okay? That only leads to lower self-worth and more relationship problems that mirror this back at you, because our outer world is a mirror of our inner world. And as our inner world changes, so do our relationships. So I'm asking you to monitor that voice within you that beats you up and tries to keep you small. And you may also come across resistance to this work. That small self wants to maintain the status quo. It wants to keep you small, and it sees this work as a threat. So it may come up with things like, oh, things will never get better. You don't deserve to have loving relationships. And just see it. You can't make this voice go away, but you can manage it by not resisting it and making it your friend. And I think you'll agree with me, so society at large is heavily invested in making us feel inadequate and unworthy, because it generates a lot of business, like squillions of dollars. And we're programmed from a very young age to feel not good enough. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us that we're too fat, too skinny, our teeth aren't straight or white enough, or our skin's not pale or dark enough, or our hair isn't the right colour or straight or curly enough, or our parents didn't come from the right social background, or we don't have the right voice, or we don't have the right social status, or have the right education, or go to the right school, or on and on and on and on. And this programming is often very subtle and insidious, and it's very damaging when it's like that. It's very damaging to our sense of worthiness. And that's where the problem lies. We feel so inadequate and ugly inside that we very naturally attract people and situations that confirm this belief. And yet, when you think about it, even the most beautiful people in the world are often desperately miserable and make a real mess of their lives. Are you with me so far? Therefore, self-love is everything. Without it, you're doomed to a miserable life and miserable relationships. And I want to share with you something that might surprise you. Because of a low sense of worth, we cause problems in relationships unknowingly to validate our beliefs about ourselves. And then we blame the other person. We think it's their fault. This happens a lot, actually. I think we all do it. I saw it in myself recently, where I was blaming my husband for making me feel guilty about something. And then I was shown very clearly that it was my guilt that was causing the problem. I was so shocked, because I was so sure that it was his problem. And when I had that realization, the whole scenario of him making me feel guilty, it was gone. And it was such an aha moment. And I couldn't help but wonder. I thought, gosh, how often have I set up and created problems in our relationship or in any relationship and thought that it was all the other person's fault, or blamed my husband, when actually I was the problem. It was a really humbling experience. And honestly, even the most apparently confident and successful people have self-worth issues. It's really epidemic, and it's causing a lot of problems in the world. So I encourage you to focus on one relationship in this challenge so that you gain maximum benefit. And I want you to look at how your self-worth is affecting this relationship. Is this contributing to the problems? Just close your eyes for a minute and take a few deep breaths and center yourself in your heart. And ask yourself, am I willing to take responsibility for my life? Are you willing to be more conscious and vigilant of that inner voice that wants to keep you small? Are you prepared to make it your friend? When it's telling you you're stupid or an idiot, can you give it a warm smile and see it for what it is? It's just an impersonal thought. These thoughts are there for everyone. And be aware of the language that you use when you talk about yourself to others. Remember, there's a lot of unlearning to do because these self-defeating habits have accumulated over your lifetime and actually over countless lifetimes of generations that have gone before you, because we're all connected. So this will be a work in progress. But the fact that you are here is a tremendous act of self-love. So give yourself a big hug for that. And be very kind, extra kind and gentle with yourself. And I look forward to getting to know you in our Facebook community. And I'll meet you again tomorrow in our next video. Bye for now.